On carkeys.com, we're working on this GMC Denali. It is the Circle Plus B11 key. The customer has one key and remote. We're going to make them two new chip keys and a secondary keyless entry remote. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my X-Horse Dolphin. It'll decode the key. We'll search for a valid key code and then cut a new key bytecode. Alright, so from the main screen of the Dolphin Cutter app, I am going to go to Vehicle Database, and we can hit G and select GMC. So this is a Yukon, and we're going to select the B111 option. Alright, so it says to put our key in, have it in position 5 on the M5 clamp. Select OK, hit decode key, and decode key. So now while the key machine puts the key through all the checks, we will see each depth of the cuts 1 through 10 show up on the screen, and then once it's done, we can run it through the code fill and get the valid key code. So as we see, we're 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so if it decoded this properly, now we can go ahead and go down to the bottom, hit find bitten, and see how it says no data. So that means one of these cuts, it decoded just a little bit off. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this key around in the key machine because it only read from one side. And then we can go ahead and try to run it again. So down the bottom, I'll hit decode key and continue. And it's going to go through the check again to check the positions. And then when it starts reading the wafers, we'll see the numbers. And we want to look out to see if one of them changes. Alright, so here we go. So that 2 turned to the 1, 3, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so I've seen 2 digits change there on this side. Alright, so let me go ahead and hit OK. And let's see if we can find bitten. And still that came back as a non-valid key code. So I'm going to hold the key up and see if I can decode it and see what might look different. So I'm going to go back, let me see. I'm going to go back and change this one back to a 2 and find bitten. Alright, so no. And then one of these, I believe that first 2 over here was originally a 3, 4. Let me see, find. Alright, so in a case like this where both sides of the key are going to decode, I actually know what, I'm going to set up my optical reader, and we can go ahead and try to optical read it and see if it gives us anything different. If not, I can always do a manual duplicator and duplicate this key, or pull the ignition cylinder out and get the key code off the ignition cylinder. Alright, so give me 1 second. Let me set up my optical duplicator and get an optical reading of this key. Alright, so I got the key loaded up in the optical reader, so I could go ahead and hit optical, and then down the bottom, this orange button here, hit identification. And we're gonna have to do Bluetooth connection. It's connected, and then now it's doing an X-ray scan of the key. And this is what it read. And then we could go ahead and move that over to cuts and do find bitten, and still no data. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a manual duplication on this, and we can move on to the program. Alright, so for the sake of using the screen record showing y'all in the X-Horse app, I am going to go ahead and put this key back into the key machine, and see here options in the top right hand corner. where it says universal key duplication. We're going to trace this key out and cut a duplicate based off of the cuts that are currently on this key. So we are going to do the second option, standard double-sided. We're going to tip a line, and we're going to use the M5A clamp. All right. So we have the setup, and we're going to go ahead and decode key. Now I put this all the way back in the number 5 position, furthest back, because these B111 are a 10-cut key and they're usually pretty deep. So right now the tracer is going and it's testing out the position of the key, and basically now it's just running all the way down both sides of the key, and it will give us a little outline. And the probe stopped. We hit a little patch where it must not have gotten good contact, so I'm going to try to brush it off a little bit, and let's try this again. So now that we got, just give me 1 second. And I don't know, that read the whole thing and then it told me it failed. Scrap this. Alright, so I just went ahead and brought the key inside and put it in my Ilco side-by-side manual duplicator. And basically what this does is I can put them in both chucks, and then see that I have the height alignment on the same, and then I could move this down and just check my tip alignment on both, and then I know, all right, both keys are in the same position. Go ahead, do the manual duplicate, flip it over, do the same thing. And then sometimes I even flip this over and cut both sides, because you know, sometimes they read a little bit differently on these worn keys, so we're going to go ahead and try this out and see how it works. So from back in our key machine, we got a brand new blank set up in the machine. I am gonna go ahead and go into all keys lost. I select GMC, and then I'm gonna enter the code that is on this ignition. Give me 1 second. All right. And these are the cuts that it should have been, so we can compare this to what we was decoding and see what was off a little bit. But right here, we'll go ahead and start cutting this key. And with these being B111 keys and us having one program key, we should be able to just do the onboard procedure of cycling the keys to program them in. This is the new key that we are cutting by code, and this key should operate the ignition and the door cylinders flawlessly. If not, you know, there's something wrong with the cylinders. Because we're cutting this by code, it should be a 100% accurate cut. So with the key in the cylinder, we can see all the wafers look like they're sitting below the shear line. We want our sidebar to drop all the way down. So this doesn't even look like it's dropping all the way down enough with the key cut by code. So this might end up being a case of defective ignition, which might need some wafers. I'm going to try to clean it up and see if I can get that sidebar laying all the way flat. Turns out it was just me. I fat fingered the code when I was putting it in, and so basically the code y'all saw wasn't the right code, but I went ahead and I cut it by right code. And you see how that sidebar sits all the way down? That's what allows the ignition to turn when it's in the steering column. So I'm cutting the 2 new keys exactly by code, and they should work flawlessly in this ignition now. Alright, so now that we have 2 new properly cut keys, I'm just going to real quick show you the onboard programming procedure. Keys for the have the circle plus here. We're going to go ahead and put our program key in. So this key, the original key, is a little sticky in there. But see, we turn it, we get the little orange lock light. Wait about 5 seconds, that goes out. Turn it off. Take your unprogrammed key, stick it in. See how easily that turned? Wait about 5 seconds. That light will go out. Now this key is programmed. We could go ahead and start the vehicle with it. Just make sure it continues to run, you know, more than 5 seconds, and it's good to go. And we're gonna move on to the remote programming. For that, we will need our programmer. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up Auto IM 508, and we'll go into the remote programming procedure. Alright, so from the main screen, we're going to go into a mobilizer. Looks like we was already into GM, but basically we auto-VIN and went into GM. And this is the main screen, so we're going to go into control unit. And then we're going to go into remote system CAN. And then we can do remote. I'm going to do add remote. Maybe add remote might not erase all the other remotes. If not, it's going to be the same thing. So basically we're going to hold these 2 buttons until we hear that double beep. We know it took it. I'll just do the original just in case. Alright, so the original already was still programmed in there. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. We're probably going to have to just wait and let it run out that 40 seconds. But we can go ahead and test both remotes, and they both function perfectly. So there you go, 1 remote, 2 new keys, all set and programmed. We just gotta put the column back together and they're good to go.